welcome back to Luigi's Mansion 3. It's time to confront Paul Blart. Oh wait, not yet. I'm melting. What a world, what a world.
Oh, okay. He just goes back inside the
Yeah,
the canister. Like I was like, we just witnessed the death of Luigi.
he gets better.
Now the what do I do now? It's broken.
Okay, so one of my secret, my secret wishes in life is to run up the down escalator, just for
You mean
fun.
I'm surprised you haven't done it already. I've ran down the up escalator.
Listen, running down the up escalator sounds dangerous, but I don't want to do it because either there's going to be people on it and I'm going to be getting in their way, or there will be people nearby and see me and I'll be self-conscious. So
I'm pretty sure a level of purgatory is you falling down the up escalator.
that sounds like it would be hell, not just purgatory.
Okay, so the big Rocco ghosts.
They give you a lot. One thing that I notice about the combat in this game versus the combat in the original is that they give you a lot more time to actually suck up the ghosts after you stun them. Whereas in the original, I felt like they sometimes didn't even give you anywhere close to enough time to do it.
Well, it's because for the big ghosts, you have to walk around them and get behind them.
Wasn't this guy the angry emotion in Inside Out?
Actually, probably.
Lewis Black too. Huh.
What do you mean you're surprised I caught him? This is my third game doing this, Gat.
Okay, well,
Time to get our gems. There's only one other area in the game at this point that you will eventually need to backtrack to for a gem, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I think it's the next floor we go to, if I remember correctly.
wait, really? I don't remember backtracking for John.
The music,
Oh yeah, that one. That one really annoyed me.
Huh.
So here's the thing: backtracking doesn't usually bother me in a lot of games. If it's designed around it, like backtracking in like a Metroid game, for example, usually doesn't bother me because that's just like what the game's about, you know. Whereas this game, the backtracking did somewhat bother me because it felt much more arbitrary. It doesn't usually bother me if I'm backtracking in a game where the structure is set up so that you'll be going through areas anyway, or you're going through an area with a new ability or whatnot.
In a Resident Evil game, backtracking is a feature, not a bug. It's part of the tactical decision making you're making as you go through the game. You're deciding whether or not to kill enemies in a particular hallway based on whether or not you expect to be going through that hallway again.
Yeah. Whereas if you're playing a linear game and then the game just expects you to backtrack randomly, I don't like that.
Now let's go through the sewers again. Why not? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is the case in this game, where it's just like you have to go through the game.
I was actually voicing a specific complaint with Final Fantasy VII Remake, actually.
Oh, okay.
Where yeah.
Oh, there's backtracking in that game. I thought it was fairly
It's not
linear.
exactly backtracking, but there's this segment that's very purely padding, where you have to go through the sewers underneath Don Corneo's mansion again.
which the game for some reason says is a point of no return, even though it's not.
It doesn't say that.
Yeah, because you can finish a side quest in the middle of it.
Yeah, and then you can leave the sewers, and then it says, "Oh no, you need to climb this wall." That's the actual point of no return. It's like, then why did you say it was the point of no return the first time?
It didn't say that it was a point of no return. It says once you're in the Shinra building, you can't go back.
Yeah, but why say that?
No,
but why
no,
say that now?
No, Ryan's specifically mentioning the entry point before the sewer. The character, what was it, Leslie, I think it was?
He says
that make sure you're prepared to go in.
He says make sure you're
for
prepared, but that's because I don't think you can leave the sewers until you're done what you're doing in the sewers. Because there's this whole big chase sequence that's like you can't leave until you finish it.
But at the same time, the game specifically says, once you go into the Shinra, you can't come back. But why say that now?
Well, it says
I'm not at that
it
point
says
yet.
it at the beginning of the chapter so that you know going into that chapter that you should focus on the side quests.
Then just say that before I climb the wall.
It does say that before you climb the wall, though.
Yeah, yes, but why are you saying that twice? You're making me confused. Just don't say that before you go into the sewers.
I didn't get confused by that, so I'm not sure what you're complaining about there. I mean, there are side quests that specifically tell you that their objectives are in the sewers, so that can't be the point of no return.
Well,
if you're doing the side quests at that point in time anyway.
There's also the matter of it could just be, you get the rewards after you beat the game or something. I don't know how the game is, at that point, I don't know how the game ending is structured.
Nah, fair enough, I suppose. But, on the other hand, if you have played Final Fantasy VII, and I presume you had, you know where the point of no return is anyway. So...
It's one of those, it said that there, so I'm thinking, okay, if I go into the sewers, that means that's the point of no, it says it now, and this is the plot point it wants me to go to.
All right,
so.
to be fair, I think you just might be misremembering, because the point of going into the sewers in the first place is to look for Don Cornero, not entering Shinra.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the point of that. It's not the game. It's not the game telling you twice about Shinra HQ.
It's just a weird placement to put that. I think.
Suppose. Whatever. But all I was saying was that going through the sewers again was kind of fucking boring.
Well, yes.
It's like what is it? What is it with these PlayStation 1 remakes this year having a morbid fascination with the sewer level? Like, okay.
I thought the sewer level was something we got over in like the mid '90s.
The only game.
Yeah, but they're part of. But all these games are from the mid '90s.
It's like, okay, in Resident Evil 3 remake, we're gonna ditch the clock tower, we're gonna ditch the graveyard, the wooden boardwalk over a swamp, or the giant worm boss. But no, we're gonna have a big ass sewer level. Why not?
To be a bit fair, you're using a lot of assets from the sewers in Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you say big ass. It's like way smaller.
Yeah, I know, but it's still a pretty big segment of the game that you're spending in those sewers, and it's like
really not even 10
and
minutes.
it's like, well, compared to what it was originally, what was the sewers you were going through with Carlos in the original game? It was a few screens, and then you were back on street level.
Did you even go into the sewer in RE3?
It was like,
I don't even remember if you go into
you
the
do.
sewer.
It's
Did
like
you just play that game like 2 weeks ago, John?
Underneath it's
no. Wait, the original RE3 that was like 2 months ago.
Like it's when you escape Nemesis in like a diner or something. You go down into the sewers briefly, and then you're back up like no time at all. It certainly wasn't after the train. I'll say that. But you did go into the sewers at one point, yes.
Okay, here's another somewhat complaint about Luigi's Mansion 3. There's a lot of periods where the game is just kind of forcing you to do things because, Luigi is scared, even though we're taking these ghosts no problem most of the time in the game. And
I mean, that's just a normal gameplay story.
It's just particularly grating in this game because it's one of those. If Luigi would just simply not do the stupid thing, we wouldn't have to deal with any of these problems.
It's a bit weird in this particular context because the last time in one of these games that we walked into a room where a ghost was eating at a table, we had the option to sneak by and ignore them. That was one of the portrait ghosts you didn't have to do. But here, it's like you're forced to fuck up and attract the attention of the ghosts that are eating.
Yeah, and there's other points in the game where, Luigi has the button or the key or whatever, and then something jumps out and spooks him, and now you've lost the thing, and now you have to go on a wild goose chase to get it. It's
stupid cat.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, can you design the game a bit better so where I don't have to have those moments all the time? It's kind of grating, and it just makes you want Luigi to stop being a fucking wuss.
Well, it's supposed to be funny. I think it's more just a matter of they overuse the joke.
It's supposed to be
Really.
funny, but it's one of those cases where the game very deliberately takes the control out of your hands in a situation where maybe it would have been more fun to have that control and have the option. Meanwhile, the ghost of Chef Eggman, uh, what the hell?
Slid the fish off his pan and blames it on Luigi. It's like, no, bitch, that's your fault for getting
This is the
distracted.
closest thing
It's
to a Sonic and Mario crossover you'll ever get outside of the Olympic Games.
no, it's the ghost of the Swedish chef.
So again, I'm gonna nitpick here a little bit more. I would have like I like that they give all of these boss ghosts personalities and things. We were talking a little bit about how they're different in general to the portrait ghosts in that they're a little bit more exaggerated. All of them also, one thing that I miss is that most of them are just like antagonistic towards you for arguably no reason. I mean, you could argue that they're working for the hotel owner or whatever. But there's the one that isn't, and one of the things that I liked about Luigi's Mansion 1 is that the ghosts weren't all... Some of them were antagonistic, obviously, but a lot of them weren't. You know, that doesn't mean that there has to be more friendly ghosts. Like, there's the one in the movie studio that's friendly. But I guess, personally, I would have liked more that are just ambivalent and don't really give a shit about what you're up to.
What Luigi's Mansion had the fortune to. I mean, the piano girl was. I won't say not entirely antagonistic.
Well, she was. Well, that was a different kind of ghost where it felt like she was dicking with you. I guess is the thing, which is.
But she wasn't malicious.
Well, I mean, you could argue that she was malicious, like in a playing with her food kind of way.
I guess so.
Yeah, but I mean, it was not like just like raw. I'm gonna beat you up, though.
Yeah, I mentioned this before, but there's a thing about ghosts repeating a significant thing about their lives, and that element in the Luigi's Mansion 1 portrait, fucking the mouse.
Just flash the light, Luigi. God damn.
Yeah, I see. That's actually a trope I don't like in video games, where I work for something and it's suddenly taken from me, and it's like, oh, come on, let's go. It's like I want to get a move on.
It's like, this is just padding, and you know it, game.
All right. Well, I talked about ghosts repeating significant aspects of their lives, right? And that lending a certain spookiness to the ghosts in Luigi's Mansion 1. That was easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, because they did that, they felt more like real ghosts. Whereas the boss ghosts in Luigi's Mansion 3... fucking mouse. The boss ghosts in Luigi's Mansion 3
Yeah, like...
feel more like ghost-shaped bosses than they do legitimate ghosts, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but like again, what's the point of the sequence other than to pad the game out?
I guess they wanted to do like the using the cheese to lure out the mouse is a decent puzzle, I suppose.
But it's like this is just, oh, we want you to make sure you go into every room. It's like, well, I was going to do that anyway. I want to explore in this game. That's
There's
what
always
you
a
do.
risk you take when you attach something last minute at the end of a boss fight, which you usually identify as the end of the sequence.
Yeah. I mean, it
You
is
know?
a short level without the boss, that, to be fair. But I guess they could have just, I don't know, like, put a key, like, made you go into this room to get a key or whatever instead.
And they kind of wanted it to be a funny sequence, is all.
Yeah.
It's not funny, though. It's frustrating because it's an obvious...
I'd
You're
say
not
that
done
the
here yet.
cutscenes in Isolation are funny. Like the Luigi's face when the mouse runs away the second time is just like I feel ya, Luigi. He's just like, oh. But yes, in the context of the game where it's in, it does feel more frustrating than humorous.
Yeah. Kind of. Like, I didn't so much mind the mice, because it's just one room over. That's fine. It's a room that you might have been in already if you were exploring thoroughly, but hasn't been used for anything specific yet. The cat, on the other hand,
Well, the cat was them trying to do the Polterpup stuff from Luigi's
But
Mansion 2
everyone
again.
hated the Polterpup stuff in 2.
I
So it's like, why bring it back?
we'll get to it, but
I mean, the argument that in that case, I guess not everybody hated the Polterpup stuff.
No, everyone hated the Polterpup stuff.
I can't speak
Everyone
for
likes
everybody.
Polterpup as a character design, that's fine, but the actual gameplay attached to him, no one liked.
The other thing, though, is that this is the kind of light, silly, running around doing funny stuff that would definitely entertain a child. But when you're sitting here on the other side of 25,
well, I'm not sure how I feel about the kids would find it funny argument, because I feel like most kids would find stuff funny that adults find
No.
funny if the joke's told well
No,
enough.
no, I have to disagree.
Well, I mean, that's the
No.
whole premise behind stuff like the Muppets, was that the Muppets were invented to be entertaining to both children and adults.
There is a
But the problem is that the kids are laughing at different things while the adults are laughing at different things.
Better
They're both
better writing can do both.
They're both technically entertaining both age groups, but they're laughing at different things.
I mean, I don't necessarily think so. Like, I mean, maybe I'm just immature, but I found Beaker getting electrocuted just as funny as an adult as a child.
You're a monster, Pip.
I still want Untitled Beaker game.
Here's the thing about that kind of gag, though. Even if that kind of gag does entertain children and adults at the same time, it's usually a different aspect of the gag that's entertaining the different age groups. An adult can be a little bit more in tune with the dark humor element of it, whereas it just looks silly to a kid, and that's enough. You know?
You were mentioning you mentioned a Beaker game. You brought up the Swedish Chef earlier. Can you imagine a Swedish Chef as a guest character in a Mario and Luigi RPG? And it there's just 3 hours of them.
I want the potato. I think
exchanging-
that's tomorrow.
I guess, you know,
and there's just 3
to
hours.
bring this
of
comparison into a realm that's a bit more familiar to our own audience and to you in particular, Ted, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door has a lot of that kind of humor where there's surface level stuff that will probably entertain children, but there's also a lot of stuff underneath that's definitely only going to fly over the kids' heads directly into the faces of the adults.
You need to have a certain IQ to apprecick 1,000-year.
Oh, can we not? Can we not make Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door the Rick and Morty of Nintendo?
We don't have to, because
Listen,
it kind of is already.
Okay, so like this is coming as somebody who found Rick and Morty funny and is now somewhat ashamed of enjoying the show because there's so many people who harassed literal McDonald's workers about Szechuan sauce or whatever.
What?
There were. So like one of the episodes was like
Every year is 1998.
yeah, like there was this episode where he talks about
A universe where the year is 1998 every year.
yeah, and
So
like
every year
there's
like
this
Mulan is coming out.
yeah, and there's this special McNugget sauce at McDonald's, and apparently it's the tastiest thing ever. And it's like I didn't really think that joke was that funny to begin with, but whatever.
But a lot of people are
so-
The
showing
problem is the joke became funny, so McDonald's did in fact bring it back for a little while.
yeah,
And the Rick
which
and
is-
Morty fans got really fussy about things.
Yeah, because it's like some McDonald's didn't know what was going on in regards to it. You know, like it's just like they got this stuff and they didn't know why. And then some fans were mad because they only got like one bottle
Packet.
or whatever. So it's like, they were just being assholes about the whole thing. And then of course there's being turned into a pickle, which is comedic gold. So it's just
Now that's an anti-joke.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's frustrating because I want to be like, as somebody who thought that the show was funny and smarter than it
the
looks.
Mr. Meese stuff is still gold.
Yeah, it's just like it's a smarter show than it looks. So I want to give it credit for that, but it's also a dumb show in a lot of ways. So I want to.
I think the point is the contrast. I think the point is that it's the contrast between the two.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. It's just that if you defend Rick and Morty, then you're the guy who yells at
Actually.
McDonald's, and
I really
don't like it, and I don't like the show enough to be that guy.
I really,
so I
really
don't.
don't think it's ever fair or smart to blame a thing, to blame a show or a game or a book or whatever for the idiots that were a fan of it.
Unfortunately,
The more popular
that fandom still colors people's perceptions
but
of.
it's a simple basic fact that the more popular thing is, the more of every kind of fan it's going to have. That means it's going to have more smart people. It's also going to have more idiots.
Hi, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
You see, this is why you like stuff that nobody likes, and then the fan base is great.
Star Wars.
Until it becomes popular, and then and then all the suits ruin it.
Star Wars, Pokemon, Final Fantasy VII. You know, it goes on.
I'm surprised Animal Crossing is doing as well as it is, to be fair, in that regard. Especially considering that it's like, I think it's jumping up to be one of the best-selling games on the system. Especially
partially because of the situation in which it was released.
I think like it's doing well in terms of very well in terms of physical sales, but digital, it's like exploding.
I think it's on track to be like the highest-selling digital game ever.
Yeah, or something like that.
Which again is mostly due to the fact of the situation we're all in.
Hey, Nintendo still gets $60 no matter what, so they don't care.
I guess. Yeah, we will see you guys all next time for the next part of Luigi's Mansion.